Well, of course, those two are novels, and I've never pretended that everything in them was literally true. Quite the opposite. They're novels that draw on my life without in any way trying to be a literal account of what I had for breakfast in 1935. And at the time Empire of the Sun came out, I went to great lengths to point out that there were substantial differences between my life and the life of Jim in Empire of the Sun. The obvious one is that my parents were not in the camp, and I justified that by saying that I think it was, in a way, psychologically truer. That there was a sort of estrangement between myself and my parents, that there's an estrangement in any sort of large slum, or bidonville, or whatever you like to call it, cardboard shack cities, an estrangement between teenage boys and their parents, for the reasons I set out. Parents have no control of any kind. They can offer no treats.
And I suppose there's a
and
question
so on.
of sort of stake in society, even if it's the society of the camp. As a teenage boy, you're just floating around. You're
absolutely. I mean, in any slum, it's the teenage boys who run wild, who have the greatest freedom. Where I got the energy from, I don't know. But
the pleasure that you mention is what I suppose is most surprising to the reader. The fact that you relished a lot of your experiences there.
Yes, I did. I mean, I think if children, and I was a child, if children are in the presence of other adults who they know, they don't have any real fear. I mean, there are amazing accounts of children in the Nazi extermination camps who were happily playing cowboys and Indians. They were with that. If as a child you're with your parents, you feel a sort of security. And I was trying to mythologize my own younger self, and leaving Jim on his own in the camp was true to what was going on there. But I mean, the events in Miracles of Life are all as I remember them. I mean, that is not a work of fiction. You can imagine the experiences of 12-year-old boy in New Orleans during the flooding. I mean, he'd be marked forever probably by that. Not in a bad way necessarily, but it would be a reference point throughout his future life.
And a reference point in a very particular way, in that with the casino, you write reality itself was a stage set.
Well, I think that's something that's something the war taught me. That parents are respected, their friends are respected, teachers, doctors, and all the rest of it. And when the adult world is radically, undermined, or even demolished, this has a huge effect on one's, on the way one sees reality. And the fact is that Shanghai was a stage set,
even before the catastrophe of the war.
Yes, I think it was, and I think in retrospect, because so much of it was given over to vast advertising displays, commercial stunts of various kinds. I cite several examples. One that sticks in my mind is the 50 hunchbacks that the management of the Grand Theatre hired to form an honor guard. Chinese hunchbacks, recruited from the back streets and slums of Shanghai. I don't know. I can't remember whether they were dressed up in sort of whatever it was, 17th or 18th century costumes. That I can't remember. But
so there's this.
You see, there were all these stunts going on. Shanghai was a vast engine of illusions of various kinds. This is, venture capitalism going full blast, 24 hours a day. And that sort of city is very easy to switch off because there's no fallback position. If you take away the skywriting aeroplanes and the hunchbacks and the
generative motor of the capital that's driving it.
Then there's nothing left.
It all goes.
Yeah.
It is very striking throughout your work, this sense of the thinness of the social and of convention, and I think, to me, that makes you strikingly un-English in your apprehension of that. That's
very sweet of you. I consider that a huge compliment.
Because, what is your relationship with this notion of Englishness? You talk about it in very disparaging terms.
Well, of course, the England I came to in '46 was absolutely dominated by its class system. I'd been misled by all those Chums annuals and Boys' Own Paper annuals, by the Just William books and A. Milne and all those children, even Peter Pan. It give the impression that the whole of England, was based in Knightsbridge and South Ken, with one or two offshoots like Godalming and St James's Park, and the sort of confident attitudes that went with all that. I saw, it didn't take me more than 5 minutes to realize that this was a huge self-delusion. And the people who were being deluded were not outsiders like myself, but middle-class English who believed that this was the true nature of the realm. They didn't really accept it. Then, and probably 80% of the population was working class, very poorly educated, poorly housed, poorly fed, poorly paid, and really being exploited in the most ruthless way, in the way that the Chinese workforce in Shanghai was exploited. And I just found it impossible to come to terms with. I'm not that interested in class